ruins in the void. The stars beyond the viewport were cold, scattered like ash across a dead sky. Dr. Curran adjusted her breathing mask and activated her visor. The air here was stale, thin, barely breathable even with Solari lungs. She stepped into the corridor of the ruin, boots crunching ancient dust beneath her. Her tail flicked once, agitated. The structure felt wrong. Too straight, too solid. Alien, yes, but not in the usual sense. It had none of the organic curves or flowing architecture of known species. This place was angular, brutal. Dr. Kent called her assistant through the comm. "We've opened the vault chamber. You're going to want to see this." She made her way past walls scorched by time and something more violent. Scattered along the floor were strange metallic shells, like insect husks, only made of metal. She pocketed one. It was heavier than it looked, possibly ceremonial, possibly a weapon. The chamber loomed ahead. Towering metal doors had been pried open by her dig team's drones. The room beyond pulsed with residual energy. A smooth black pod rested at the center. Suspended by magnetics, it hovered a foot above the floor, humming faintly. Glyphs, angular and primitive, lined its base. "I thought you said this site was abandoned," she muttered. "It was," her assistant whispered. "But that thing's still running." Karn approached. The pod was clearly a containment unit. Stasis tech. Old, unfathomably so, but still active. She scanned it. One life form inside. Weak vitals. Faint, but undeniable. She hesitated. Legends came to her mind. Stories of warriors born from ice and fire. Of beings who tamed radiation and burned stars to light their path. Of the Hyomen. "Open it," she said softly. Her assistant blinked. "Are you sure?" "Do it." With a hiss, the magnetic field disengaged. The pod lowered gently to the floor. A hiss of vented gas followed, then silence. The shell split open down the center. At first, there was only shadow within. Then he sat up. He gasped, harsh, panicked. Eyes flicked open, wide and wild. He was pale, bruised, wrapped in fragments of armor that had clearly seen battle. Symbols decorated his chest plate. A red flag with stripes and stars faded into dust. Karin instinctively stepped back. Her heart's hammered. The figure looked around slowly, disoriented, as if awakening in a nightmare. Who are you?" he croaked, voice hoarse. Karin stared. Her mind scrambled to process the sight before her. 2 eyes, flat teeth, hair like silver fire, and that unmistakable frame, tall, broad-shouldered, bipedal. "I am Dr. Curran of the Solari Union," she managed, voice trembling. "Archaeologist. This is a classified dig site." The man blinked, trying to process her words. "Where am I?" "You're in orbit over star HC 8R5. This is the Delver's grave." He looked down at his hands, scarred and shaking. "How long?" Karin checked her scan again, confirming the numbers she didn't want to believe. "You've been in cryostasis for at least 800 years. He looked at her then, really looked. His eyes were sharp now, focused. Something ancient stirred behind them. Karin took a step back. She could no longer pretend this was a malfunctioning drone, a glitch, a hoax. Her voice trembled, barely audible. "Impossible. Your kind exists only in myths." The man's expression hardened. "Name's Captain Elias Rhane," he said, voice growing steady. "United Earth Defense Forces. If I'm the last human left, then myths are all you've got." Karin's translator struggled to catch the cadence, the confidence. The last human, a being from legend, and he was staring back at her like he wasn't surprised to be feared. She wasn't sure what scared her more, his sudden calm, or the implication that he might not be alone. She tapped her comm. "Lock down the site," she said to her team. "Now." Because if one human had survived the fall of Earth, there could be more. Man out of time. Captain Elias Rhane sat on a steel crate inside the Solari research vessel Vashiar, shirt off, arms wrapped in bandages from Karin's medkit. His eyes scanned the sterile chamber, so pristine, so alien. The walls pulsed faintly with bioluminescent blue veins, like the ship itself was alive. Karin stood across from him, data slate in hand, but her gaze kept drifting to him. His presence disturbed the air itself. Something about the way he occupied space felt heavier. Realer. Too real for a ghost from history. You said it's been 800 years, Elias murmured. His voice was steadier now, though distant. Yes, she replied. We estimate your stasis pod was sealed in the early part of Galactic Cycle 9. Your calendar system is lost, but it predates the fall of Earth by several centuries. Elias looked up sharply. Fall of Earth. Karen hesitated, then brought up a hologram. It showed a red-marked sector of the galactic map, X001. A thick quarantine ring pulsed around a pale blue dot. Your world is classified as an extinct origin world. No known survivors. Forbidden to approach. Radio silent for over 6 centuries. Elias stared at it, unmoving. We were losing the wars. Not just against outsiders, against ourselves. Earth ordered us to go dark. 1,000 sleeper cells were deployed to hidden systems. I was part of Fireteam Revenant. Final failsafe. He exhaled. Looks like I was the only one who woke up. Karen set the slate down. Your kind were legends to us. Myths. Warriors that turned empires to ash. Stories of how you refused to surrender, even when outnumbered 100 to 1. He didn't smile. We didn't fight because we wanted to win. We fought because we refused to be erased. Karen folded her arms. I'm not sure the galaxy is ready for your kind again. Neither am I, Elias muttered. Silence settled between them. The hum of the ship filled it. She finally asked the question that had been circling in her mind since the moment he stepped out of the pod. What were you fighting for? Really? Elias didn't answer right away. His gaze drifted toward the viewport. Stars shimmered in the void. Each of us had reasons. For me, it was my brother. He was a colonist on Ganymede. Died when a rogue AI bombarded the outpost. After that, I volunteered for Revenant. He touched a scar that ran down his ribs. The program was simple. Freeze us near strategic points. If humanity ever needed a resurgence, we'd wake up and raise hell. Karen absorbed this quietly. But they never woke you. No, Elias said. And maybe they were right not to. Karen paced slowly. There are factions in the galaxy that would kill you on sight, or dissect you for what you are. You're a relic of a species that terrified the stars. He looked at her now. And what about you? She hesitated. I should report you. Turn you over to the Union Council. But I don't want to see you destroyed. Why? Elias asked, voice low. Karen's crest flattened in a gesture of vulnerability. Because I studied myths all my life. I thought I was chasing shadows. But now I see. Those stories weren't just about monsters. They were about defiance. About something the rest of US forgot. How to fight when there's nothing left to win. Elias looked away. You've got that part right. Outside, warning lights blinked across the console. Her ship AI chirped a quiet alert. Incoming scan, she said. Union probe. If they detect you. I can't stay here, Elias said, standing. You'll never make it off this ship. I don't need to, he said. I just need a suit, a rifle, and 10 minutes. Karen moved toward the wall panel. After a tense pause, she keyed in a code. A hidden compartment opened, revealing a stripped-down survival rig and an energy rifle, relics from an old war. Elias raised an eyebrow. Not very regulation. I'm a field archaeologist, she said. We break rules for a living. As Elias strapped into the armor, Karen turned back to the console. The probe was drawing closer. She made a decision. We can jump to Nemoris. It's a neutral port, unregulated space. You'll blend in. He looked at her. Why help me? Karen answered without looking away from the screen. Because myths don't shake your hand. And you did, of monsters and men. The port city of Nemoris Prime was chaos wrapped in neon. Ships hung in low orbit like metal vultures. The station below pulsed with overlapping voices, burning plasma lights, and the kind of lawlessness that bred dangerous freedom. Merchants hawked weapons beside exiled diplomats. Mercenaries bartered body mods next to spice slingers and old tech salvagers. It was a place where people vanished or reappeared under new names, and it was perfect. Elias pulled the hood of his borrowed cloak lower as he walked beside Curran through the bazaar. His Terran features drew occasional glances from species who hadn't seen a human outside of a history reel. if at all, but the disguise mostly held. I hate places like this, Karin muttered. You're the one who said we'd blend in, Elias said, eyeing a vendor who displayed a human skull in a case marked Ancient War Trophy. Authentic. I didn't say we'd feel safe. They stopped at a reinforced door tucked between two oxygen reprocessors. Karin keyed a code into the panel. The door hissed open to reveal a low-lit archive room filled with salvage data cores and an old, cybernetically augmented avian known as Trick. Karen, the creature squawked, his synthetic eye adjusting. Haven't seen you in 5 cycles. You bring me another stolen relic. I brought something rarer, she said, stepping aside to reveal Elias. Trick blinked, then froze. No, he whispered. That's not possible. I get that a lot, Elias said flatly. Inside, the three huddled around a cracked console. Karin uploaded files from the vault, including scans of Elias's DNA and armor. Trick pulled up fragmented war records from before the Galactic Unification Charter. Battle reports, redacted mission files, censored documents. All of them bore a single recurring word. Hyomen. The entries weren't just reports. They were warnings. Your kind didn't just fight wars, Trick muttered. You broke siege lines. Overran star cruisers with nothing but boarding pods. Some believed you couldn't feel fear. Others thought you thrived on it. Elias remained quiet. His gaze lingered on one particular record, an image blurry and half-erased. But he recognized the armor. It was his unit, Revenant. He touched the screen. We weren't gods, he said quietly. We were just desperate. Karin studied his face. Why did the galaxy turn you into monsters? Trick answered for him. Because monsters are easier to bury than martyrs. Before Elias could speak, a sudden hush fell over the bazaar. Footsteps echoed outside the data den. Heavy, precise. Karin's skin flushed pale. Too late, she whispered. They found us. The door blasted inward with a searing blue light. A tall figure strode through the smoke, flanked by 2 war drones. His armor was black, polished, the mark of the Solari Inquisition etched into the chestplate. Vectorowin. I thought the myths were exaggerations, Vex said, eyeing Elias with disdain. But here you are, breathing proof of our ancestors' nightmares. Elias stepped forward. And here you are, another coward hiding behind shiny armor. Vex's eyes narrowed. You don't belong in this galaxy, Relic. Your kind should have stayed buried. Elias didn't wait. He moved like lightning, rolling forward, grabbing a fallen plasma pistol, and dropping one drone with 2 shots before the others could react. Karin ducked for cover. Trick scrambled behind a data stack. Vec activated a shield and lunged. Their clash was fast, brutal. Elias fought with stripped-down efficiency, conserving motion, using every advantage. Vec fought with modern precision and overconfidence. They were evenly matched until Elias broke the rules. Grabbing a shard of broken paneling, he jammed it between Vec's armor plates and twisted. The Solari screamed. Elias ripped his helmet off and pressed the pistol to his throat. This is what humans do, Elias growled. We adapt. We endure. And when someone tries to erase us, he clicked the safety off. We bite back. Vec spat blood. It won't matter. The council knows. The others will come. I hope they do, Elias said. He dropped the pistol and turned away. As they escaped into the maze of Nemoris, Karin ran beside him. They'll hunt you across every system now. Elias wiped blood from his knuckles. Let them. What will you do? He looked up at the stars. Send a message. Message to the void. The stolen freighter tore through slipspace, leaving behind the chaos of Nemoris like a trail of broken glass. Inside the cockpit, lights blinked red and yellow in warning. Systems patched with scavenged code and desperate hope. Elias Rhane sat in the co-pilot chair, fingers tapping a rhythm on the console. He stared at the star chart projected above the NAV module. His eyes lingered on one dark zone, a sector wrapped in silence and fear. Earth. Karin leaned over the controls, her jaw tense as she stabilized their vector. You're sure about this? She asked. Elias didn't answer right away. If I stay hidden, I'm a ghost. A rumor. A tool to be used or destroyed. If I show the galaxy I'm alive, I become a decision. She glanced at him. That might be the most human thing you've said. He managed a thin smile. They arrived at the Arc Beacon Array 2 cycles later, a derelict orbital transmitter long abandoned after the Galactic Wars. It floated above a shattered moon, its hull pocked with meteor scars and blackened by radiation burns. It hadn't transmitted a signal in 400 years, which made it perfect. Karen docked the freighter and powered down everything but life support. Inside the array's control room, dust lay thick on the consoles. Elias cracked his knuckles and got to work. He bypassed 3 dead interfaces, rewired a primary uplink node, and jerry-rigged a boot sequence using parts from the ship's backup comms array. Karen watched, impressed despite herself. "You do realize sending this message is suicide," she said quietly. "Every empire, every faction, every scavenger between here and the Council will come looking for you." Elias plugged in the last relay. "Good. Let them come." She didn't argue. Instead, she brought up the last known frequency set for the old Galactic emergency broadcast band. It was primitive, untraceable through modern firewalls, and universal. He sat before the camera, took a breath. Then he hit record. "This is Captain Elias Rhane, United Earth Defense Forces, designation Revenant 7. I don't know if any of my kind still exist. Maybe I'm a last. Maybe we're just a memory burned into your archives, a warning etched in the bones of your planets. But I'm real. We didn't vanish. We were buried, forgotten, rewritten as myths. But we don't stay buried forever." He paused. The weight of 8 centuries pressed into his spine. "I'm not here to declare war. I'm not here to reclaim Earth or ask forgiveness for humanity's sins. We made enemies. We made mistakes. We paid the price. But if there are others out there, humans like me, or those who believed in what we stood for, listen closely. They'll come for me. They'll try to erase this message. Try to silence the truth. Don't let them. We are the broken, the lost, the ghosts of an empire that refused to die. But even ghosts can speak. Even myths can rise." He looked directly into the lens. "We're still here." He ended the recording. The array began transmitting seconds later. A low-pulse signal stretched into every open band, rebounding through relay stations that hadn't heard human speech in centuries. Karen stared at him. "It's done." Elias exhaled. "Now we see who listens." Outside the window, the stars didn't change, but the silence had been broken. A new alert pinged on the console. A long-range sensor blip. Then 2. Then 9. Karen's eyes widened. "That's impossible." Dozens of dormant satellites were activating across the sector, responding to an old Earth command protocol. Elias stood, heart pounding. One signal began to coalesce, a partial ID. Encrypted. Familiar. He decoded it with trembling hands. "Revenant 12. Acknowledged. Stand by." His breath caught. "They're waking up," he whispered. "Others like you?" Karen asked, voice barely audible. Elias looked out at the stars again. For the first time since opening his eyes in that vault, he didn't feel alone. "No," he said. "Not like me." He tightened the strap on his rifle. His reflection in the viewport looked like a soldier again. "They're worse.